Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, today I wanted to try the bamboo fire saw just using the Swiss Army knife, the Victorinox Fieldmaster. And the challenge we're going to have today is the humidity is so high. You know, at a 60-degree dew point and lower, it's most favorable to get embers, to get friction fire. At 65 though, dew point, it feels sticky to the touch, and when it gets up around 70 degrees of dew point, it's sort of oppressive. Well, today we have 74-degree dew point, so I think the only chance we're going to have at getting an ember out of this bamboo fire saw is just because it's house dried. So I want to go ahead and try to go through the paces and make up the set and go for the ember before this piece absorbs too much moisture. But I think I have 5 or 6 videos on the bamboo fire saw. It's one of my favorites. It's not a favorite because it's easy, because it's kind of elaborate and it takes a lot of work to make the set, but it's just it's very satisfying to just use your little Swiss Army knife and a piece of bamboo and to make fire. So let me show you some close-up shots. We'll be using the big blade. And we'll be scraping up the tinder with the back of the saw blade. And of course we'll be using the saw also. And I thought that I would use the awl to sort of drill into that tree right there and to provide a little ledge to bamboo fire saw off of. So let's go ahead and get started before my bamboo absorbs too much moisture. Alright, there's a top board, a bottom board, and then there's a tinder bundle. So let's take this section right here. This is all cracked up. Let me cut out this section here and here for the top board. Kind of moldy and dirty inside, but that won't matter. Alright, there's my top board. And for my bottom board, let's go with let's see, I think I'll cut the rest of this off. Right here. Cuts this bamboo pretty good. Alright, now I want to sort of split this in half. Let's split it. Let me get a split started. Here. And here. Now, I might be able to use this for a little sort of a wedge to split that out. Let's try it and see. Good. And this can be our bottom board. So now we have a top board and a bottom board. So the first thing I want to do is to scrape up a tinder bundle using the back side of this saw blade. And we'll try to get it off of here. Now this first layer is kind of waxy, kind of chalky. Let's go ahead and get rid of most of it. Now, let's scrape up a tinder bundle. Back of that saw does a good job, doesn't it? Now when you scrape with the back of this saw, you sort of have to keep it from closing up on your hand. And I suggest being patient here. You'd rather have too much tinder than too little. So we'll just take our time with it and scrape up a big old tinder bundle. I'm thinking about might be able to take a piece of this bamboo and sort of hold that blade open like that so I can put more pressure on it. Oh, that's a whole lot easier. All right, I think I got enough. I think that this will be plenty. All right. Now what they usually do on this is to separate this into two balls, but I like to kind of keep it connected. I will pull it apart. So now there's two connected tinder bundles. And that'll go in the top board. And usually they take a piece of bamboo, a thin piece of bamboo, and hold it on there, but I just hold it in there with my thumbs. So. Alright, so let's go ahead and make the top board. The top board, we'll use the knife. In here is where the ember is going to collect. So you want to start right in the center and start boring a hole. And you want the tip to just barely make an impression on the other side, and then you want to stop. And while you're doing this, making this hole, you want to bevel it out. You want to put a sort of a chamfer all the way around that hole, because that's going to help collect the dust. So I'm cutting out a cone-shaped divot in that top board. Let me show you what we got so far. Cone-shaped divot, just barely through on the other side. And now I'll take the saw and I'll cut a little groove right in the center of that hole. It'll all become clear here in a little bit when I make the bottom board. That's it. Top board is done. Now the bottom board, will sit at this bottom board sits against the tree, and I'll have it pressed into my hip. And this right here we're going to cut to butter knife thickness. And this top board, remember I'm going to have my thumbs holding in that tinder bundle. This top board will ride right on there. So now I want to take this down to about butter knife thickness. Little Swiss Army knife is ideal for making a bamboo fire saw. So you want to pick a good stable spot on the tree. So this knife edge right here will be straight up. That looks like a good stable spot right there. And I'll take my awl. Now, nobody else does this. I'm the only one that does this with the sticking like a shelf in the tree, like a little place for the bottom of this to rest on in case inadvertently I let up the pressure and it wants to fall out. Because like I said in all my other videos, the worst thing in the world is to be going hot and heavy and getting lots of smoke out of there, and then accidentally it slips out and you lose all that heat and all that progress. So I will stick this awl in the tree here. We're kind of a little ledge for it. Stove. We'll be getting lots of rain. I'll need some pine needles. Hold on, I'll be right back. We're ready to give this a try. My large tinder bundle is still connected in the middle, right on the center of that hole. Holding it with my thumbs. Let's give it a try, see what happens. Now, I'm going to go back and forth on the entire length of this section right here, and then at some point it's going to start to smoke. And when it starts to smoking enough, there'll be one part of this that's actually blacker than the rest of it. So when I actually go for the ember, I'll be concentrating just on that black spot. Let's see what happens. getting brown. I smell smoke. It's right on the verge. I love that. I love a piece of bamboo and the Swiss Army knife. Let me show you what we ended up with. Well, I missed that other shot as usual. I'm not used to the camera being pointed across the table. I'm more used to be pointing down at the table, so I was pretty much out of the shot. But here's the three tools that I use: the saw and the big knife blade. And although I didn't use this for a shelf on the tree, I did use it to push the ember out of that bottom board. So I just love the thought of being able to make fire with just my Swiss Army knife and a piece of bamboo. That's awesome. And we can get it to focus. So we had that start off with that cone-shaped divot with a notch cut right across here, and you see how it wore down to make the ember. And then the bottom board. And that's about how much it wore down. About an 1/8 inch out of right here. So, alright y'all. Really enjoyed this one. Another good, satisfying video. Thanks for joining me on this one. We'll catch you on the next one.